What's up everyone? Alex here. I just got done watching the Indie World Showcase, and while it's not as exciting as previous showcases, there's at least 5 games that caught my attention. And that's particularly why we're doing this differently. So instead of talking through and reacting through the entire 20-minute presentation, I want to show you my top 5 games in the latest Indie World Showcase. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, post a comment telling me what your favorites of the showcase are, and subscribe to the channel for more indie and niche game coverage. Let's begin. Number 5, Idle Manager, coming out on August 25th. If you've been following me on Twitter and watching some of my YouTube shorts, you know that I've been playing a Love Live game on mobile. And if the name isn't a dead giveaway, it's basically an idol manager style game where you train your different idols so that they can perform songs a bit better, which basically means that it has some rhythm-based gameplay tied into it. So when I saw Idol Manager in their supercut at the end of the Indie World Showcase, I beamed with delight because all I wanted to have in the West is a freaking Idol Master game, which is an elaboration of what Love Life does on mobile. So the fact that Idol Manager is going to be focusing on the management aspect of it, I don't know if there's like any sort of rhythm game element to it yet. It really made me excited about it. I love games that try to expand different genres, and managing a team of idols seems really interesting to me because we've never really done this before outside of the Idol Master games, and probably a few more that I haven't heard of. That being said, I would love to see a better presentation and UI because it kind of seems just plain right now. I wanted to capture the magic of being an idol and being a performer in that field. So if they can nail that, I think this is going to be an exciting game to play. And I can't believe it's coming out on Switch. Number 4, Curse to Golf, coming out this summer. I'm not one for sports games, but when I saw this game on the Supercut of Games at the end of the Indie World Showcase, I was kind of taken aback, but in a good way. I've never played a game of golf as a side-scroller. We're talking like with platforming elements. Like I saw this ball double jump during putts and also freeze entire water hazards because the golf ball had an ice element to it. This just sounds so freaking interesting, especially for people who aren't really traditional sports fans, but want to play a game similar to that with some really neat twists. And Curse to Golf is definitely a game that I'm looking forward to playing this summer. Number 3, We Are OFK, coming out this summer. So I used to live in LA for ever since I was like 17, 18 years old. And even though I don't live there anymore, I remember all the toils that they talked about in the trailer, the long commutes and the competitive atmosphere because there's millions and millions of people in LA. I do find it also interesting that they framed it as kind of like a biopic. I mean, is this literally like the developers doing this? Like, what's going on here? Certainly, I'm really intrigued, especially because the game has some gorgeously amazing and fantastic art direction that I just want to see more. Number 2, another Crab's Treasure, coming out 2023. You know, even though I'm new to the Soulsborne category, I've actually been a passive observer for quite a long time. And one of the things that I kept wondering was that, will we ever see a Soulsborne game that's not overly dark and is quite somewhat wholesome? I think that's what another Crab's Treasure is all about. And what's actually really compelling about this game is that you can already tell how it's going to play. So it's a shellfish and you get different kinds of treasure, which modifies the way that they attack and how they block things and react to things. And as the developer said, they're perfect because they can strafe already. The concept is so cute. It's so wholesome. Except for the whole part about like pollution and all that stuff. Maybe another Crab's Treasure is still that dark. But either way, I'm hoping for the best and ultimately a lighthearted take on the Soulsborne genre. Hopefully it sticks to landing. And last but certainly not least, at number 1 is Wayward Strand, coming out on July 21st. It's not a surprise that a narrative-driven game with interesting mechanics is at the top of this list. I'm always looking for great narrative games that can be played by a ton of different people, including JRPG fans, and I feel like Wayward Strand is doing something very interesting to what I think is a game influenced by traditional point-and-click adventure games. The fact that you can be a passive observer in the storytelling that's happening throughout this airship hospital, if you will, is so appealing to me because you can inject yourself into these conversations or you could be a passive observer. That's actually a really big deal when it comes to interpersonal and social dynamics when it comes to these sorts of games. And unless I'm wrong, let me know in the comments, but I've never really played any sort of narrative game that just allowed you and your character to be passive observers or choose to be active participants in said conversation. And the art style, of course, is really gorgeous. It's very inviting. It really pops from the screen. And I'm just wondering what kind of stories that this is telling. There are some parts of this that are kind of reminding me of Spiritfarer, so I kind of hope that it's not as dire as that one, even though I really love that game. But I'm really looking forward to seeing what kind of stories they choose to tell in an airship hospital, because I think that's a very unique setting that has a lot of potential for memorable character development. And those are the 5 games that absolutely attracted my attention from the latest Indie World Showcase. I know that this doesn't feature a lot of the bigger games that were featured like Ooblets and Totally Accurate Battle Simulator, but I wanted to present you guys with a more concentrated look on some of the games that could be easily overlooked, and I hope I did that with this video. And if I did exactly that, please leave a like, post a comment, and let me know what you think of the games that you've seen here, and subscribe to the channel for more indie and niche title coverage. So until next time, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.